Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, February 27th. We are coming off another roller coaster ride of a session yesterday. During regular trading, all three major indices dipped from early session highs to ultimately end mixed. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ were able to finish in the green. The S&P 500 snapped its losing streak by less than a point, or 0.01%. The NASDAQ gained 48 points, or about 0.25%. The Dow ended in the red, off 188 points, or 0.43%. Bill, let's get into Thursday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm excited about today. I'm looking at the S&Ps. They're up 0.61%. That's kind of like what we did yesterday, but we sold off in the afternoon. We started off strong, but then the market got weak, especially during that Trump press conference. It wasn't a press conference. It was a cabinet meeting that turned into a press conference. But, again, we're seeing strong gains at the open, so that's really good to see. And, what's causing it? I mean, listen, you got to think about Nvidia. They delivered a strong earnings report, and the stock is moving higher, which is good to see. It's up 2.68%. They did indicate a little weakness in the margins, but that weakness is minor. It's minor. It was still a strong report, and they're still forecasting a good, solid growth. What else? President Trump, he had that cabinet meeting. He had the press in there, and he issued a warning on EU tariffs, specifically on autos, that they're coming. But there are media reports suggesting that the EU and India are working towards concessions to avoid any tariff action. So that's kind of positive. Then there are a host of economic reports due out this morning. Jobless claims, durable goods. Those are going to be the two key ones in focus, I think. Aside from Nvidia's earnings, in Nvidia's positive earnings reports, Snowflake, ticker SNOW, and SNPS, that they also are trading higher after earnings and after the bell today. You got the DELL Technologies, DELL, ADSK, NTAP, and NTRA. They're all scheduled for release. And I also want to point out that President Trump is scheduled to meet with the Prime Minister of the UK today. That could be something. Then we're taking a look overseas, and we're taking a look at Germany. Germany is actually down 0.64%. The weakness in autos after President Trump talked about unfair practices, and he is talking about a 25% tariff threat specifically on autos and other stuff. I don't know what other stuff means, but it's really on autos. And then you can look at London. London's up 24 points, or 0.28%. Positive earnings results. Rolls-Royce came up with a very stellar report. That's helping the index move a little higher. France, on the other hand, the market is down 0.31%, or 25 points. The producer prices slowed to a 4-month low, in January. That's kind of positive, but the trade tensions with the U.S. is really, what's causing the weakness there. And then we're turning over to Asia last night, and, you look at the Nikkei. The Nikkei did show gains. The Nikkei was up 113 points, or 0.30%. But there's a batch of economic data tomorrow. So, that kind of kept the index in check, where they're kind of waiting on those reports before moving forward. Hong Kong slipped a little bit, down 0.29%. That's like 69 points. Listen, there's a big, huge rally yesterday. And so the weakness, was seen in consumer and tech stocks. But, after that, yesterday's 3% rally. I mean, falling a tenth of that is nothing. In China was up plus 0.23%. Listen, they got that two sessions meeting next week, and the anticipation is for additional fiscal stimulus. So that's really what's moving that market. And then we're turning our attention to oil, and oil is up over 1% this morning. Couple of things here. President Trump, he revoked Chevron's license to permit the company to export crude oil from Venezuela. That's seen as a supply concern. EIA released their inventory data yesterday. Inventories fell by 2.3 million barrels last week. Expectations were for a build. So, that's actually, good for oil prices. But that's what I have for you for a morning market report, Emily.
Bill, you mentioned out of the gate there that you are excited for today. And we've been on a roller coaster of a ride, as I mentioned, for a number of sessions. And guess what? We hopped off and we're getting in line to hop right back on. And one of the reasons we're confident about getting back on this ride is because we have information at our fingertips using our NewsWare. We can hear in your opening, there's a fair amount of data and information to be following along today, not the least of which are earnings and economic events. You did mention Nvidia and some other big tech companies that have come out, and a number after the bell that will be released that are important to watch. So let's start there. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
It's going to start off with Salesforce, ticker CRM, Charlie Richard Mary. I mean, listen, they delivered a beat of 17 cents. They did it on higher revenue. A little concerns about, forward guidance causing the stock to fall back. Stock's trading lower by 3.62% this morning. But, the CEO said, hey, it was a great quarter. He was touting their agent force very highly last night. Then there's Nvidia, which beat by 4 cents on higher revenue, ticker NVDA. That stock's up 2.49%. Jensen Hong was very confident in the business moving forward, so that was good to see. Snowflake, ticker SNOW, Sam, Nancy, Oscar, William, they beat by 12 cents. They did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 12.58% this morning. Upcoming after the bell today, we get DELL Technologies, ticker DELL. Listen, their EPS is $2.53 with the expected move of 10.25%. Then you have Autodesk, ticker ADSK, Apple David, Sam Kilo. Their EPS is $2.13. Expected move here is 6.70%. Then you have NTAP, ticker NTAP. Their EPS is $1.90, and their expected move here is 8.29% when they release after the bell today, Emily.
Bill, as I mentioned, you will be following all of those releases and you're gathering that information that came out using your earnings NewsWare alert. Another type of alert you have set up is that one for economic reports and Fed speak. I am looking at the notes here, a number of important economic reports today, along with a slew of Fed speak. So let's get into it. Give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
8:30 a.m. Eastern time is the key hour. That's where we're going to get reports on jobless claims, durable goods orders, and the GDP. I mean, the jobless claims reading is expected to come in at 225K compared to last week's reading of 219K. Durable goods orders. This is going to be a key one because it's expecting a reading of plus 2.0%. Last month, it was down 2.2%. So a positive durable goods reading could potentially be a market mover. And then we got Fed speak. We got a lot of Fed speak. 7:30 a.m. Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin. 9:15 a.m. We're going to hear from Kansas City Fed Bank President Jeffrey Schmidt. At 10 a.m. we're going to hear from Fed Governor Michael Barr. At 11:45 a.m. Fed Governor Michelle Baumann. At 1:15 p.m. Cleveland Fed Beth Hammack. And then at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to hear from Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harker. Don't expect them to kind of waver off their current narrative that the economy is in good place and that near-term rate cuts are unlikely. That's typically what's going to be said today when these Fed officials start to speak, Emily.
And if that is indeed the commentary that comes out, you'll be seeing that as it happens using that NewsWare alert that I pointed out. There is one you can create for Fed speak, Fed commentary, and for each Fed official, as you told. If you've set that up previously to gather all of that information. You also set up alerts for other types of news and information. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You also look at your stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 24 higher and 6 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. A little weakness in Apple, but everything else is showing gains. You're looking at some of the news behind the tape, like Amazon. Hey, they announced, they had that event yesterday where they announced their first quantum chip along with an upgrade to Alexa, their voice assistant home device. Google, YouTube says that there's over 1 billion monthly podcast users. Interesting. Meta Platforms is considering launching a standalone version of its Reels app. And Tesla, the FAA is close to canceling a $2.4 billion contract, which was awarded to Verizon, and they may switch it over to Tesla Starlink, Elon Musk Starlink. Verizon trade lower by 0.25% this morning. Tesla trading higher by 2% this morning. So yeah, that's an interesting development. In terms of Dow Jones 30 news, Chevron, ticker CVX, looking at the stock, it is trading slightly higher this morning. But Trump rescinded that license for them to operate in Venezuela. That's not positive for them. And then there's Microsoft. Microsoft is urging the Trump administration to overhaul curbs on AI chip exports. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. In terms of merger news, Southwest Airlines, ticker LUV, they're said to be exploring the sale of Sapphire. Activist, Triton Fund Management plans to push Solvatum to separate its business after the company's $4.1 billion deal to sell its filtration unit. In terms of guidance news, what do we have in here? Nvidia sees Q1 revenue coming in 43 billion plus or minus 2%. Street estimates 42.05 billion. Ooh, that's nice. Ticker A is an LG, and they're back in their full year 2025 EPS view of $5.54 to $5.61. Street estimates $5.57, right in the middle, not bad. And then there's Salesforce, ticker CRM. Street estimate is $2.62. They came in and they said that they see Q1 adjusted EPS of $2.53 to $2.55. Much lower than the consensus. That's the down thing. That's why you're seeing weakness in the stock, and the stock's down 3.82% this morning. In terms of shareholder events going on, GFL, Grace Frank Larry, this is GFL Environmental. They're having a shareholders event today. Buybacks, Allstate, ticker ALL, they announced a $1.5 billion share buyback. ADT, ticker ADT. Apple, David Tom, their board authorized a 500 million share repurchasing plan. And Bed and Bath Works, their board approved a 500 million share repurchasing plan. That's BBWI, Boy William India. That's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk Pick of the Day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Elastic, ticker ESTC. Elvis, Sam, Tom, Charlie. Earnings are out after the bell. EPS is 47 cents. Expected move is 17.10%. It's a big move. Now, the call volume yesterday was 445 calls. Put volume was 148. Not heavy volume, but very positive on the call side. And now you look at the open interest, 13,153 versus 9,021. Again, that's positive. Now, it's not widely followed by the major brokers, but those that do, like I think it was Morgan Stanley, they have an overweight rating on the stock, and they have a very elevated price target. So, really it's about the entry price. Listen, this morning I was thinking 105.25. I think I got to go and say 106 area, because I do think this is going to have some significant gains today. I think I'll be able to pull out 1%, but I want to get in at that discount. And, stocks trade 106.40 to 107. I do think it can weaken to a little under 106. So that's my pick of the day. ESTC, Alva, Sam, Tom, Charlie, Elastic, Emily.
Elastic it is today. We will follow that along with you ahead of earnings. Yesterday, your pick of the day was also a pick ahead of earnings. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, Trump ICE crackdown ICE crackdown broader than advised. Details missing in its Ukraine-U.S. mineral deal. That's not positive. Smuckers, SJM, they're shaking up their leadership, apparently. Oracle Interconnect from Microsoft now supports Oracle U.S. government cloud. Dollars moving higher after Trump mulls additional tariffs. Hanesbrand, HBI, and Urban Outfitters. Hanesbrand's announced exclusive collaboration with Urban Outfitters. Moderna moving lower. Health officials are reviewing its bird flu vaccine contract that they got with the Biden administration. Eli Lilly, LLY, they're going to spend $27 billion to expand U.S. manufacturing with 4 new sites. Algient, they expect soft demand for its medical tools and equipment from smaller biotech companies. Beyond Meat, remember this one? This is one of the big movers years ago. The company forecast annual revenue below estimates after posting a wider than expected loss yesterday. Google, a Canadian regulator, said Wednesday it will impose a fee on holding companies Google to recover the cost of enforcing a law that requires large internet platforms to pay for news content on their websites. Yeah, that's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we go sign off and get into trading today, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Pure Storage. Now, we did sort of sift through a number of tech earnings yesterday after the bell, and Pure Storage is another one that came out. Pure Storage reported a Q4 EPS of 45 cents. That was ahead of analyst estimates of 41 cents. Revenue for the quarter came in at $879.8 million versus the consensus of $868.53 million. The company sees a Q1 2026 revenue of $770 million, and that was versus the consensus of $768.29 million. They are seeing a full year 2026 revenue of $3.51 billion. That is just below the consensus of $3.52 billion. Now, a mix of brokers raising and lowering price targets on the stock this morning. The stock is following after that earnings beat. And, that was on the back of stronger than expected sales. Some are saying that it's still a good time to buy this one, to buy this dip, that it's a solid company. But investors aren't loving it this morning. But you were playing this one yesterday, Bill. How did your call work out?
It's all about yesterday. I mean, listen, the stock opened up at 63, then it fell down, with some weakness down to 62, and then it ran hot all the way hitting, 64 area, and then it closed at 62.40. But that opening price of 63 running to 64 was huge. So the 1% was there, and I was thinking low 62s, and sure enough, it did go down to that area. So absolutely, the 1% was there. But the earnings part wasn't bad. It was actually a good report. EPS. The forward guidance was a little shy. It was a little soft, which is causing the weakness. But the report was not bad, so I wouldn't be surprised if it turned around today. But PSTG worked out yesterday. Paul Sam, Tom Grace was the winner yesterday, Emily.
You got your gain yesterday and still, worth watching today. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's elastic pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading weekend month at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.